So recently MASH has been putting quite a lot of time into different physics related things for Mashbox and, well, eventually Streets. And apparently, according to MASH himself and also other people that have been playing with some of the recent updates, the physics, and especially the transition and things like that, are the smoothest they've ever been, apparently. So I'm very curious to give them a little go and see what I think about it. So let's have a look. So one thing MASH mentioned was the pumping physics has been improved as well. And to be fair, I never really had much of an issue with the pumping physics. Sometimes it was a bit strong, like you gained a ton of speed. But the way it is now, it seems pretty good, I think. Like you can pretty much just go indefinitely like this. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, you pretty much maintain speed, whatever you do. For people that never really got used to it, it's kind of an essential part of some of the challenges that you need to pump pretty well, otherwise you're never going to make it. Especially that first gated mission, I can't remember the name of it, but you really needed to have the pumping down on lock. Unless it was one of the first missions, people didn't understand that and got really frustrated by it. So understanding it, at least it's a lot more simple now than it used to be. It's just a left stick up and down. As you can see, it's fairly logical as a thing. In fact, if you're wondering what that timer is at the top, for some reason this mission's been put in. I guess there's a way of testing out the transition physics and pumping. Yeah. That was first try. So maybe just because I'm used to it now compared to before. But I remember that mission was a pain, but I didn't really grasp a lot of the physics and the pumping stuff. Or it's just been made easier with the newer physics. It's kind of hard to say, but yeah, that felt pretty good. So if we're going to put these transition physics to the test, see what it's like. To be fair, seems to be flowing pretty good so far. Even with some of my questionable riding here and there. Yeah, it's all connecting. There was a period where a lot of the transition stuff, like sometimes it just send you in a different direction, like you'd end up going to the left or to the right, even if you didn't have the triggers held down or anything like that. Yeah, like this is all just one long run right now. Had no issues whatsoever. So I would say that's a pretty good success right there. Actually, G-turns may be feeling a bit better as well. Is that just me? Hang on. Let's give it a quick go. Yeah. I don't think I have any mods on at the minute, because the game's updated so much, like the mods keep getting broken all the time. So it's actually a pain to go through all the effort to do all that stuff. But then again, if I've got this custom clothing on, then I guess the mod is working, which would mean the physics are a little higher or stronger than base settings. I generally go with like 14 because it feels better to me. Yeah, this feels pretty nice. Not gonna lie. Little case. So what do you think? Seeing how it's flowing at the minute. I say that, I'm casing all over the place. But you kind of get the general idea, I think. Flowing better? Worse? One thing about the streets physics was I always found it to have too many like magnets and things getting in the way. Like it'd be pulled in weird directions, it'd feel a little heavy and slow, which always threw me off. So I wasn't really a fan of it. I did like a lot of the flip tricks. In fact, if we can try to flare somewhere, we'll see what happens. But flares, with the way the current physics are, where can we do one? Maybe find... Okay. Maybe a bad example. But... yeah, flare type tricks, getting the flip and the spin at the same time feels really awkward. It's maybe easier to do like flat 360s and things like that. Not all that bothered about either, to be honest. I think I prefer flares, but it's kind of the way it is. Jesus. Overall, though, in terms of the actual transition and the way things flow, pretty good. Another thing I noticed is Feebles actually lock in now. Feebles and Smiths. For the longest time, they were really inconsistent. Like, I don't know, I could never get them to work very well. Like, look at that. The back wheel is fully on the ledge. In fact, if we can find a good enough place to do it, we'll see. Get. Okay, bad example. Oh yeah, we can actually get into a manual now. With the previous physics, if you did a Smith and then left it up into a manual, I know it's a bit of an illegal trick to do, you'd immediately like drop down. I don't think the physics quite works in that sense to allow it to happen very easily. Let's try on a rail. Okay, I think we need a little bit more height to make sure we make it. Okay. Your mileage may vary when it comes to this sort of thing. It may just be me being not very good at it, or trying to get used to it again. It does activate more than it used to, though. That's for sure. Had a weird bit of a magnet thing there. Ooh. Skip the cones. Sweet. Damn. His body really gets into the whole pumping motion. Seems like. Okay. Let's get a feeble, please. I'm not having much luck with feebles now. I was saying they were working, but then... Smiths are okay. It's always lined up. Okay. And you can lift up to a nose from a feeble as well. Interesting. Well, maybe try it over at the park, actually. Could be easier to do it over there. Yeah. Seems to work. Maybe rails can be temperamental. But just judging from that ledge right there, we seem to do okay. Let's try it again. Feeble. Good. Okay. Smith. If you're wondering why I'm lifting up, it's just to see the potential for like switching between different types of grind tricks. Still very bouncy. It's kind of hard to explain why or what's going on that makes things feel a bit better now. There is something that's definitely smoother about it and the way it plays. So, as usual, this will actually be filmed and released on the same day, so this should be a pretty up-to-date view of where the physics are at the minute. And as a whole, we do seem to be going in the right direction. One thing, I guess, that should be mentioned about the other videos I did this week, where there was like the drift car, the drift bike, trike, and all the other stuff. Apparently, for MASH, like all that experimentation is just ways of him learning different physics-related things, which gets implemented into the BMX side of stuff in the end. So if it does seem weird at a glance, like why is there a drift car here, or what is the purpose of it, it's not just to troll people, or just a side project. It does have its purpose, I guess, unless you're the person making the game. It's hard to know what that will be. But, yeah, it's not for nothing, is what he says anyway. Whether people believe that or not, and he's not just going off on a tangent, wow. No way of knowing for sure, but I'll take his word for it. And if we have some of those bonus things that we can use in the game later on, then that's not bad as well, I think. The other thing to mention is, you'll notice all this stuff over here. It's all the trail sections of Rotex's, I can't remember the name of the map, the jungle one. It's basically this park and this bit over here is also from that map. Now he's put all of those into this like test map, presumably to test out the physics of it all. Maybe we should give one of them a little go to see how it feels now, because dirt jumps obviously have always been a bit of a problem in this game. We'll pick one at random and see what happens. I always find speed is an issue with these things. Like, you never know. Yeah. Once you overshoot something, you're kind of screwed. But then again, if the whole thing was super automated, it probably wouldn't be that interesting. It's kind of a hard mix to get right, I would say. Okay, we're going to overshoot this one again. Oh, okay. Okay. Overshoot once, you're kind of screwed after that. Yeah, you get the idea though. So yeah, that's been a little quick look at the current state of the transition physics. Well, I've tried a bit of everything. Overall, I'm fairly impressed. Like, it's definitely feeling smoother than it ever has. I wonder what some of the people who prefer either pipe or streets physics would have to say about it. But for me at least, especially if you're into the more park style of things, you can definitely get a nice bit of flow on. And of course, turn off all the assists, you can do a lot of tech, stores, and a lot of the stuff I like as well. They're pretty covered on that end as well. Overall, not too bad I would say. So yeah, let me know what you think. Give it a go. And if you do have any complaints, let Mash know, because he does seem pretty receptive to changing things, especially if people have complaints about it. I've just noticed my... What's going on? Why the fuck's, like... Oh well. Anyway, yeah, let me know what you think. And I will see you in the next video.